The transport ship slid out of the jump corridor and entered the blue glow of Velthar's upper atmosphere. For Ryan, the view filled the cabin window like a painting. Below him, the alien world shimmered with fields of crystal that reflected the light of two suns. Tall towers shaped like spirals rose from a wide plain. Each tower bent slightly as if it were alive. The scene was quiet but powerful. He was 24 years old, a soldier from Earth, and now the official guard of a princess he had never met. Ryan's armor was polished but light. His orders were clear. He was to protect Princess Arian of Velthar during an uneasy season of diplomacy. The treaty between Earth and the Velthari Empire was still new. Both governments wanted a human officer close to the royal family to show trust. Ryan knew the job was more than ceremonial. He had studied reports of unrest among the alien nobles. Some families resented the treaty and whispered about rebellion. He had accepted the assignment anyway because he believed in making contact with new worlds and because the chance to see Velthar was rare. The transport landed on a glassy platform near the royal palace. The air outside was thin but fragrant, filled with the scent of flowers and metal. The sky was a soft violet. Ryan stepped down with his pack and scanned the area. Guards in long silver robes stood at attention, holding staff-like weapons that pulsed with energy. Their eyes glowed faint green. They watched him without speaking. He felt the weight of their gaze but kept his posture steady. An attendant approached, a tall figure with smooth blue skin. "You are Ryan of Earth," the attendant said in clear standard. "The princess awaits you." His voice was musical but formal. Ryan followed him across a bridge made of transparent stone. Beneath the bridge flowed a slow river of light. Tiny living sparks swam in it like fish. The palace ahead rose higher with each step, a building of glass and crystal that shifted colors as clouds passed above it. No picture from Earth had prepared Ryan for its size. Inside the main hall, the floor reflected everything like a mirror. Beams of colored light streamed from hidden vents and moved along the walls. Statues of winged beings lined the corridor. The attendant led Ryan to a circular room with a high ceiling where the princess stood waiting. She was not on a throne. She was by a window looking out at her city. Her dress was woven from strands of luminous fabric. Her hair was dark with streaks of silver, and faint glowing lines ran across her skin like constellations. When she turned, her eyes caught the light and held it. Ryan stopped and placed his hand on his chest. The gesture Earth's diplomats had agreed to use in place of a bow. "Princess Arian," he said, "I am honored to serve as your guard." For a moment she studied him without speaking. Her gaze was calm but deep, as if she were looking not only at his face but at his thoughts. Then she smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed the room. She walked closer until she stood only a few steps away. Her voice was soft yet clear. "I chose you long before they sent you," she said. Ryan felt the words strike him like a bell. "I do not understand, Princess," he said carefully. "This is our first meeting." Arian tilted her head slightly. "It is your first time seeing me with your eyes," she answered. "But I have seen you many times through the currents of thought that move between our worlds." She did not explain further. Instead, she gestured to the window. "Come look at Velthar." He moved beside her. From the window, the city stretched to the horizon, towers rising like frozen waves, each glowing from within. Far beyond lay the crystal fields he had seen from the ship. Small aircraft moved like insects between the spires. The beauty was vast but also fragile. In some distant quadrant, he saw a plume of smoke where something burned. He wondered if that was the unrest his reports had spoken of. Arian watched his expression. "You see more than the view," she said. "You see the shadows also. That is why you were chosen." Ryan turned toward her. "Princess, my duty is to protect you. I will do that with all my skill. But I need to know the truth about the dangers you face." Her luminous markings pulsed faintly. "In time you will know," she said. "For now you must learn the palace and its people. Some will welcome you. Some will try to test you. Do not fear. You are not alone here." The attendant reappeared and handed Ryan a small crystal badge etched with symbols. "This will open your quarters and give you access to the guard posts," the attendant said. "You will begin your duties at dawn." Ryan accepted the badge and placed it on his chest plate. He felt a surge of determination. The princess had spoken strange words, but he sensed no deceit in her. He looked at her once more and saw not only a royal figure, but a person standing at the center of a storm. She had chosen him for reasons he did not yet understand. He would learn them soon enough. That evening, he walked through the palace corridors to his assigned room. The walls glowed softly, casting no shadows. Outside his window, the two sons of Velthar sank behind the crystal fields. He checked his sidearm and laid it within reach. The alien night was quiet, but his instincts told him trouble was near. Far away in the palace, he imagined the princess still watching the city. He promised himself he would not fail her. Morning came to Velthar with a soft glow. The twin suns rose at different angles, one golden, one pale blue, and their light spread across the palace like waves. Ryan woke before the alarm on his wrist unit. He dressed quickly, fastening his armor and clipping the crystal badge to his chest. The room's walls shifted from night colors to warm silver, as if the palace itself responded to the day. Outside his window, the city spires caught the sun's light and looked like blades of ice. Ryan left his room and walked the corridors with steady steps. The palace felt alive. Panels of crystal adjusted under his boots, changing tone as he passed. Holographic symbols floated near the ceilings and rearranged themselves like clouds. He saw servants moving in silence, their skin shades of blue or green, their robes flowing like water. Some glanced at him with curiosity, some with a quiet warning in their eyes. He kept his face calm and his senses sharp. At the main hall, Princess Arian waited. She wore a different dress today, still luminous but with a pattern of soft triangles that shifted when she moved. Her hair was tied back, showing the glowing lines across her temples. Around her stood 4 palace guards in silver armor. Their weapons were long rods ending in double prongs of light. They looked at Ryan as if he were an intruder rather than an ally. Arian raised her hand. "Today you will walk with me through the Palace of Glass," she said. "You must know every path if you are to protect me." Ryan nodded. "Lead the way, Princess." They moved together through a wide corridor. Sunlight passed through the roof and scattered across the floor like diamonds. The walls showed scenes of Velthar's history. Great ships sailing between stars, councils of glowing figures, and wars fought with beams of light. Ryan studied each image, trying to understand the culture he had been sent to defend. He noticed that Arian walked slowly, as if giving him time to see. The palace guards followed at a distance. They reached a garden enclosed by crystal arches. Instead of soil, the ground was made of soft moss that pulsed with faint light. Plants grew in tall spirals with silver leaves. Small winged creatures darted between blossoms, leaving trails of blue fire in the air. A fountain of liquid light rose from a basin and fell back without a sound. Ryan had never seen anything like it. He could almost forget his mission until Arian spoke again. "These gardens are not for the public," she said. "Only my family may walk here. My father called them the heart of the palace. He believed the palace itself listens through them." Ryan turned to her. "It feels peaceful but also strange. Like the air is awake." Arian smiled faintly. "You sense it already. That is good." She walked to a tree with glass-like bark. This palace was grown, not built. It is part of the great lattice beneath Velthar. It responds to thought and to emotion. That is why the nobles fear change. Change shakes the roots. Her words carried weight. Ryan looked around, noting possible vantage points and exits. His soldier's mind measured the space even as his eyes admired it. "If this palace reacts to thought, can others use it against you?" he asked. "They have tried," Arian answered, "but it knows my signature. Still, there are secret ways. That is why I need someone who thinks differently." They left the garden and entered a training hall. The floor here was clear crystal, the ceiling high. Racks of weapons lined the walls. Staff swords, curved blades that shimmered, and small discs that pulsed with energy. At one end of the hall, a practice dummy shaped like a humanoid glowed faint green. Arian lifted one of the staff swords and held it out to Ryan. "Show me how you fight," she said. Ryan hesitated only a moment, then set down his pack and took the weapon. It was lighter than it looked. He swung it once, testing the balance, then moved into a guard stance. Arian circled him, her eyes alert. She moved like a dancer, no wasted motion. She lunged, and the staff sword in her hands flashed with light. Ryan blocked the impact, sending a shock through his arms. They exchanged a few quick strikes. She was fast and graceful, he was solid and direct. Sparks of light burst where their weapons met. The palace guards watched in silence. Ryan could feel their judgment. He shifted his footing, feinted, and made a counter move that would have disarmed a human opponent. Arian twisted out of the way with ease. She laughed softly, not unkindly. "Good," she said. "You fight with focus, but you must learn to move as the palace moves." They stopped. Ryan handed the weapon back. "I am here to learn," he said simply. Arian placed the staff sword on the rack. "And I am here to teach. Together we may keep this palace safe." As they left the training hall, a sudden flicker passed across the lights in the corridor. For a second, everything dimmed. Ryan's hand went to his sidearm. "What was that?" he asked. "A test," Arian said. "Someone is probing the palace's defenses. They wish to see how quickly we respond." She looked at him directly. "Do not let your guard down." They continued to the observation balcony. From there, Ryan could see the city again. Airships moved between towers carrying goods and passengers. But in one corner of the horizon, he saw smoke rising where no smoke should be. His instincts tightened. Trouble was closer than it had been yesterday. Arian stood beside him, her expression calm, but her markings pulsed faintly. "The Palace of Glass holds many secrets," she said. "You will see more of them soon. Be ready, Ryan of Earth." He met her eyes. "I will be ready," he said. The wind on the balcony carried a faint sound from the city below, a sound like distant thunder. Ryan felt the weight of his duty settle heavier on his shoulders. He had come to guard a princess, but he could sense the role becoming larger. He would walk these corridors, learn these gardens, and stand beside her when the storm arrived. The palace shone under the twin suns, but in his mind the shadows were growing. The following days passed with a rhythm that felt both calm and tense. Ryan walked the corridors of the Palace of Glass at all hours, memorizing routes, doors, and hidden alcoves. He learned how the crystal floors changed color when someone approached, and how the walls could become transparent or solid at a touch. He began to recognize the palace staff by face and by voice. Some gave him respectful nods. Others turned away when he came near. All the while, he kept his eyes open for danger. Princess Arian often moved without a large escort. She preferred to walk with Ryan alone, showing him corners of the palace no outsider had seen. She explained small customs of her people, how a bow of the head meant respect, how a palm placed over the heart meant truth. Ryan listened carefully. He had been trained to read cultures, but Arian's words carried more than simple instruction. They felt like keys opening doors. On the fourth night after his arrival, the palace quieted earlier than usual. The halls were dark except for thin blue lines of light running along the floor. Ryan had been assigned to patrol the lower levels. Few guards went there. The air was cooler and heavier, as if the weight of the city above pressed down. He moved slowly, his boots making no sound on the crystal panels. He found a stairway hidden behind a wall that had shifted open as he approached. It led to a chamber lined with old machines. Dustless but still ancient, they hummed faintly as if sleeping. On the far wall, a screen glowed weakly. Symbols unlike any he had seen in the palace flickered there. He touched a control pad and the screen brightened, displaying records in standard language. His heart beat faster as he read. The archive contained reports from Earth ships dating back centuries. According to these records, Earth explorers had brushed the edge of Velthar's star long before official contact. The files spoke of psychic transmissions and visions shared across light years. Names of long-dead captains appeared beside fragments of Velthari script. One entry mentioned a child of the royal house who could reach beyond the sky to choose an ally. Ryan scrolled further and found his own name flagged in a recent entry. It said simply, "Selection complete." A quiet voice behind him made him turn sharply. "You found it," Arian said. She stood at the entrance to the chamber, her markings glowing faint gold in the dim light. She wore no crown, only a plain robe. Her expression was calm, but her eyes searched his. Ryan stepped back from the screen. "Princess, what is this place? Why is my name in your records before I was even sent here?" She walked to the machines and brushed her fingers across the controls. The screen dimmed and shifted to show a moving image of stars. "This is an old link between our worlds," she said. "My ancestors built it when they first sensed your kind moving through space. They could see threads of possibility, paths of action. When I was a child, I trained to follow those threads. Through them, I saw faces of humans not yet born. One of them was yours." Ryan's mouth went dry. "You mean you have been watching me for years?" "Not watching in your sense," Arian said. "Feeling, knowing, your courage, your loyalty, your sense of justice. All these formed a pattern. When the treaty allowed an Earth Guard to serve in my palace, I asked for you. No one understood why, but the lattice between our minds did." Ryan stared at the star image. He remembered moments in his life when he had felt strange dreams of light and water. Could those have been echoes of her? "If this is true, Princess, why tell me now?" Because you must know before the storm breaks, she answered. You are more than a guard. You are a link between two peoples. Without you, this palace may fall. He took a slow breath. Then tell me about the danger. Tell me who is trying to harm you. Arian turned to face him fully. The glow of her markings brightened. My cousin leads a faction of nobles who wish to end the treaty with Earth. They believe isolation and conquest will keep Velthar strong. They have agents inside the palace. Some of the staff you pass each day may already be theirs. If they strike me down before the council meets next cycle, they can claim the throne. Ryan felt his training rise like steel inside him. Then we must secure these lower levels and find every hidden path they might use. She nodded. That is why I brought you here. The palace listens to those who understand it. You saw how the wall opened for you. It has begun to accept your presence. With your tactics and my knowledge, we can build defenses they do not expect. They walked together through the chamber. Arian showed him panels that controlled energy flows and gates that could be sealed or opened. She explained the living lattice under the palace, a network of crystal roots that could carry signals faster than light. Ryan sketched a map in his wrist unit, noting choke points and alarm routes. His soldier's mind clicked into place. He began to plan. At one doorway, he stopped and looked back at her. Princess, you chose me long ago, but choice is not enough. You must trust me now. I do, she said quietly. That is why I am here with you instead of hiding in my chambers. They climbed back toward the main levels. The blue lines of light on the floor brightened as they walked, following them like a trail. Ryan felt a strange calm settle over him. He still did not fully understand the connection she claimed, but he could no longer doubt its reality. The evidence surrounded him in glowing panels and in her steady gaze. When they reached the upper hall, Arian paused. Tomorrow we begin training my guards in your methods, she said. They will resist at first, but they will learn. Together we will be ready. Ryan looked out a nearby window. The city lights flickered under the twin moons. Somewhere out there rebels plotted, but now he knew the truth and had a partner who believed in him. He tightened his grip on his badge. The storm was coming and he would stand at her side when it arrived. The next cycle dawned with an uneasy sky. One sun rose behind a veil of thin clouds and the other shone a hard pale light across the palace. Ryan stood on the training ground near the southern wall. The crystal floor glowed faint yellow under his boots. Around him stood 24 of Arian's guards, their silver armor shining like water. Each held a staff weapon. Their eyes studied Ryan with curiosity but also doubt. Princess Arian watched from the edge of the field. She wore a simple tunic and no crown, yet her presence commanded respect. These are my chosen protectors, she said. They will learn your way of fighting today. Ryan nodded and spoke clearly. Your weapons are powerful, but you must also learn placement and movement. On Earth, we fight not only with strength, but with position and teamwork. If we use these skills together, we can hold the palace against any attack. He drew lines on the floor with a small projector, marking lanes, angles, and cover positions. He showed them how to move in pairs, how to guard a doorway, how to react if one is struck. At first, the guards moved stiffly, unused to his sharp commands. Some frowned at his corrections. But Ryan remained patient, demonstrating each step until the pattern began to flow. Arian joined the exercise, moving with the same grace she had shown in the training hall. She paired with Ryan to demonstrate how a single leader could direct the others. The guards saw her effort and began to copy them. Soon the field echoed with the sound of synchronized steps and staff strikes. Energy flared from their weapons but held to controlled bursts. After 2 hours, Ryan called a halt. The guards were breathing hard, their faces damp with a sheen of light from their markings. He gave them water and a few words of praise. You are faster already. With more practice, you will be ready. One guard, taller than the rest, stepped forward. Human soldier, he said. Why should we trust your ways? We have fought for centuries without them. Ryan met his eyes steadily. Because your enemy has studied you for just as long. They know your habits. If you change, you take back the advantage. I am not here to command you. I am here to fight beside you. The tall guard lowered his weapon slightly, thinking. At last he bowed his head. Then teach us, he said. A ripple of agreement moved through the group. Arian smiled. It seems the palace accepts new rhythms, she said quietly to Ryan. They dismissed the guards and moved to the war room, a chamber high in the central spire. Transparent panels surrounded the table, showing the city far below. Streams of light represented power flows and shield status. Ryan studied the map. Your cousin's forces control the outer domes, he said. If they move closer, they can strike the palace from 3 sides. Arian touched a glowing point on the map. I have sent messages to the loyal houses. They will send ships, but it will take days. Until then, we stand alone. Ryan marked positions with his finger. We can use these corridors as choke points. And here, he pointed to a junction of crystal beams. We can set up crossfire. Your weapons work best at range. My tactics will bring the enemy into narrow paths. A pulse of sound vibrated through the floor. The map flickered. Arian looked up sharply. What was that? A guard rushed in. Princess, rebel skimmers have breached the outer gardens. They are testing the shield. Ryan's training took over. Seal the lower gates, he ordered. Move the civilians to the inner halls. Set 2 squads on the balcony approach. Arian did not hesitate. Do as he says, she told the guard. The guard ran out. They moved quickly through the palace, issuing orders to posts and adjusting shield frequencies. Outside the windows, Ryan saw distant flashes of light where rebel craft fired at the barrier. The palace's energy field shimmered but held. In the sky above, airships formed a circle, their wings glinting like knives. In a corridor lined with statues, Ryan stopped and listened. He could hear faint vibrations in the crystal under his boots, like footsteps echoing from below. They are inside, he said. Arian placed her hand on the wall. Her markings glowed brighter. A small group has used the hidden tunnels. They are moving toward the council chamber. Ryan drew his sidearm. Then we cut them off before they reach it. They ran down a side passage and descended a spiral stair. The air grew cooler and the light dimmer. At the base of the stair, they found a junction of 4 tunnels. Ryan placed his back to the wall and raised his weapon. Arian stood beside him, staff weapon ready. Shadows moved ahead. 3 rebels appeared, their armor darker than the palace walls. They carried compact energy rifles. Ryan fired a controlled burst at the lead attacker, striking his weapon hand and sending the rifle spinning. Arian swept her staff across the floor. A pulse of blue energy rolled out, knocking the others off their feet without killing them. They scrambled away into the tunnel. Ryan lowered his weapon. They were scouts, he said, testing our response time. Arian's eyes were calm but firm. Then they have their answer. We will not fall easily. They returned to the upper levels. Alarms pulsed through the palace, a low sound like a heartbeat. Guards moved with purpose now, taking up the positions Ryan had shown them. The air carried tension but also resolve. On the balcony overlooking the city, Arian stood beside Ryan. The rebellion has begun, she said. But so has our defense. Ryan watched the sky where distant flashes marked the first true battle. He felt the weight of his weapon and the stronger weight of his duty. The princess had trusted him. The palace had begun to trust him. Now he had to prove worthy of that trust. He turned to her. We will hold, princess. With your people and my tactics, we will hold. Arian's markings glowed like fire in the dusk. Yes, she said. We will. Night had fallen on Velthar, but the palace no longer rested. The shields flickered in the sky like silent lightning. Guards patrolled the corridors in pairs, their silver armor glowing faintly under the crystal lights. Ryan moved among them, checking posts and supply points. The training from the last days had taken hold. Each guard held position with discipline. The palace felt tense but steady, like a bowstring drawn but not yet released. Princess Arian walked beside him. She wore a cloak of pale gold over her tunic, the hood down so that her markings shone. Her eyes were clear but shadowed with thought. Your drills have changed them, she said quietly. They no longer move as scattered lines. They move as one. They did the work, Ryan answered. I only showed a different path. The real test is still ahead. They reached the main stair where 2 guards saluted and stepped aside. Arian led him down a narrow hall lined with dark glass. The air was cooler here and smelled faintly of stone. At the end of the hall stood a heavy door carved with flowing symbols. She placed her hand on it. The markings on her skin flared and the door slid open without a sound. Where are we going? Ryan asked. To the oldest part of the palace, she replied. It is called the Chamber of Roots. My family kept it hidden from outsiders. It is time you saw it. Inside the chamber, the ceiling arched high, but the walls were covered with living vines of crystal that pulsed like veins of light. They wound together in patterns that reminded Ryan of neural maps. The floor was smooth and dark, and at the center stood a low platform surrounded by a ring of glowing stones. The air vibrated with a faint hum. Ryan felt the hair on his arms rise. Arian stepped onto the platform and faced him. "This is where the first link between Velthar and Earth was born," she said. "Here my ancestors reached across the void and touched minds on distant worlds. Here I felt you before we met." Ryan walked slowly around the platform. "I can feel something," he said. "It's like the room is awake." "It is alive," Arian said. "The lattice below Velthar runs through this chamber. It can connect two minds if they are ready. You and I share a thread already, but tonight we will strengthen it." Ryan hesitated. "What does that mean?" "It means you will feel what I feel," she said. "You will sense danger as I do, and I will sense your instincts, your decisions in battle. Together we will act as one. This is how my ancestors fought beside their chosen allies. It is not control. It is unity." He looked into her eyes and saw no trick, only resolve. "If it will help protect you in this palace, I will do it," he said. Arian extended her hands. "Step onto the platform and take my hands," he did. Her fingers were cool but strong. Light from the vines brightened until the chamber glowed like dawn. A pulse moved through the floor and into his boots. He felt a pressure in his chest, not painful but deep. His vision blurred for a moment. When it cleared, he was still in the chamber, but he also sensed the shape of Arian's presence like a quiet flame beside him. Arian's voice came not only to his ears, but also inside his mind. "Do you feel it?" "Yes," he said aloud. "It's like a door opened," she smiled faintly. "Now watch." Images flashed in his mind. Corridors of the palace, guards at their posts, a map of tunnels below. He realized he was seeing what she sensed, a living network of positions and flows. Then just as quickly he felt a flicker of his own thoughts echo back to him through her. The bond tightened. He steadied himself. "This is powerful," he said. "But can we control it?" "With practice," she replied. "It will make us faster in battle, like two minds in one body. We can guide the defense together." The light slowly dimmed. The vines returned to their soft glow. Ryan released her hands, but the sense of her presence stayed like a low note in the back of his mind. He could tell she felt his steady breathing and his soldier's calm. He could also feel her focus and a deep sadness under it. "What is wrong?" he asked quietly. "My cousin's fleet moves closer," she said. "They will strike again before dawn." This bond came just in time. Ryan straightened. "Then we must return to the command post. The guards need to see us ready." They left the chamber and walked quickly through the hall. Ryan noticed how doors opened ahead of them without a touch. He felt the palace's awareness brushing against his own. It seemed to recognize their link. He also sensed faint ripples of movement in the tunnels below, like a whisper of footsteps. Arian glanced at him. "You feel it too," she said. "Yes," he answered. "They are moving scouts toward the inner levels." "Then our bond already works," she said. "We will intercept them before they reach the council chamber." They reached the war room. Guards looked up as the princess entered. Ryan moved among them, giving short, clear orders. He felt her support in his mind, a silent agreement with each decision. The guards responded faster now, sensing the unity between their leaders. Outside the window, the shield flickered under a new volley from rebel ships. Arian stood at the map table. "Tonight we will hold," she said to the assembled guards. "You are not alone. We fight together." Ryan looked at their faces. He could feel their growing resolve. The bond between him and Arian was invisible, but its effect was real. The palace of glass would not break easily. The rebels would find not a divided court, but a single will. As the alarms deepened in tone, Ryan rested his hand on the edge of the table. He felt Arian's quiet determination inside him like a second heartbeat. Whatever came next, he would not face it alone. The sky over Velthar was restless. Rebel ships moved in tight formations, their energy weapons casting streaks of light across the city. From the palace balcony, Ryan and Princess Arian could see the outer domes flickering under the attack. The twin suns had set, leaving a soft violet glow, but the light of the battle painted the towers in harsh moving shadows. Ryan adjusted his sidearm and surveyed the palace defenses. "They have tested our shields," he said. "Now they will try to break through the corridors." Arian stood beside him, staff weapon ready. Her markings glowed softly, a rhythm that matched her steady heartbeat. "Then we will meet them head-on," she said. "You will lead the palace guards in the lower levels. I will use the spire's amplifiers to protect the upper halls." He nodded. "Let's move." They descended to the corridors below where the guards waited with weapons and shields. Ryan's earlier training sessions had paid off. Each guard moved in formation, checking angles and positions with precision. He gave commands calmly and they followed instantly. The first rebels appeared at a junction near the council chamber. They were armed with compact energy rifles and small plasma grenades. Ryan signaled the guards to spread into pairs. "Cover the entrance," he ordered. "Use the walls in the corners. Force them into the center." When the rebels advanced, Ryan struck the lead attacker's weapon with a well-aimed blast, sending it spinning across the floor. Arian followed, sweeping her staff in a wide arc. A wave of energy knocked 2 more attackers back without harming them permanently. The remaining rebels hesitated, unsure of the defenses. Ryan's eyes flicked to the other corridors, noting their blind spots and how the palace could be used to channel the enemy. Reinforcements arrived through a side corridor. Ryan moved quickly, directing guards to block the path and create a funnel. The rebels fired, but their shots hit crystal walls and bounced harmlessly. Arian joined the defense, channeling the energy from the spire through her staff. The light flared in pulses, disabling enemy weapons and sending waves of force through the floor. "Hold the junction," Ryan shouted. "Do not let them reach the inner halls." The palace vibrated slightly as the rebels tried a larger attack. Ryan realized they were attempting to target the crystal spire itself. He moved to a small control panel and activated the energy amplifiers. The spire glowed, and beams of focused light extended through the palace's upper levels. Arian stepped onto the platform and raised her staff. The energy resonated with her markings, creating a shield that reflected incoming fire back at the attackers. The rebels faltered under the unexpected defense. Ryan led the guards in a coordinated push, clearing each corridor in methodical sweeps. The combination of human tactics and Velthari energy arts proved too strong. One by one, the attackers were driven back or neutralized. The palace, once calm and silent, now seemed alive with purpose. It responded to their movements, amplifying their strength. Outside, the rebel fleet tried a final push. Ryan and Arian observed the sky. "We cannot fight them all here," Ryan said. "But the spire can disrupt their ships." Arian's eyes shone. "Yes, the lattice below the palace will guide the energy." She raised her staff and the amplifiers hummed. A wave of light extended into the sky. The air shimmered and several enemy ships faltered, losing power and descending. The remaining ships retreated, their formation broken. The guards cheered softly, but Ryan kept his focus. "Check all corridors," he ordered. There may be hidden scouts left. They moved through the palace, clearing the lower levels. Arian and Ryan worked together seamlessly, their bond allowing them to anticipate each other's actions. Where Ryan led a defensive maneuver, Arian strengthened the energy fields. Where Arian sensed a hidden enemy, Ryan intercepted them before they could strike. The combination was perfect, a new kind of leadership. By dawn, the palace was secure. Smoke and fire glowed faintly on the distant horizon, where the last rebel ships had been. Ryan stood on the balcony again, watching the city. Guards were stationed at all points, ready for any further threats. Arian joined him, her markings dimmed now that the immediate danger had passed. "You fought well," she said quietly. "Better than I imagined." Ryan shook his head. "We fought well. You led as much as I did. Your people will remember this." She looked out at the city, a small smile forming. "They will. And so will your people on Earth. This palace, this city, and this empire now know what a human can do. Together, we are stronger than any single threat." Ryan nodded. He could feel the bond between them, stronger now after the night's battle. It was no longer a simple connection. It was trust, understanding, and shared purpose. The palace itself seemed to acknowledge it, its crystal walls reflecting the early light in gentle pulses. "Tomorrow," Arian said, "we begin rebuilding and preparing for the council. Some of the nobles may still question me, but now they will see the truth. We are ready." Ryan looked at her and felt a surge of determination. "Yes, and when the council meets, they will see that humanity has a place among the stars, not just as visitors, but as allies." The first sun rose fully over Veltar, casting long beams across the towers. The city sparkled with a new energy, a mixture of relief, pride, and anticipation. The rebellion had been stopped, but the future was still unfolding. Ryan realized that he had not only protected the princess in the palace, but had helped forge a new bond between two worlds. Arian placed her hand briefly on his arm. "Thank you, Ryan," she said. Not for your skill, but for your courage and your presence. You are more than a guard. You are my partner in this. Ryan felt the weight of her words. He had trained, planned, and fought, but this acknowledgement carried something deeper. It was respect, trust, and the understanding that their bond had changed the course of Velthar's history. He would stand by her side through the council, through the rebuilding, and through whatever challenges the future held. The palace of glass shone in the morning light. Its towers reflected both the suns and the hope now rising within it. Ryan knew that this battle was over, but a larger story had begun, one in which humans and Velthari would face the universe together. The palace was quiet after the night's battle, but tension still lingered in the air. Princess Arian prepared to meet the Council of Nobles. Their skepticism had not vanished, and many hoped to question her leadership after the rebellion. Ryan stood beside her, ready to guide and protect her. The bond they shared was stronger than ever, giving them both clarity and focus. The council chamber was vast, with crystal walls that reflected every light. Long tables curved in a circle around a raised platform where Arian would stand. Nobles from every sector of Velthar were seated, their markings glowing faintly. Some watched her warily, others whispered to each other. Ryan noticed the tension and measured each presence carefully. Arian stepped onto the platform, her staff weapon in hand but lowered. She looked at the nobles with calm authority. "I have returned from the night of the attack," she began. "The palace stands. Our people are safe, and the threat has been stopped." She paused, letting the words sink in. One elder noble leaned forward. "Princess, you faced the rebels with only a few of your guards. How did you survive?" Ryan moved subtly beside her. "The princess did not stand alone," he said. "We acted together, human tactics and Velthari strength combined. We defended the palace and we protected the people." His voice was firm. The chamber went quiet. Nobles exchanged glances, seeing a human not as an outsider, but as a partner in the palace's survival. Arian raised her hand slightly. "The bond between Velthar and Earth is stronger than ever. This human Ryan is not only my guard, he is a trusted ally. His knowledge, his courage, and his decisions were crucial in saving the palace. His presence proves that we can work together to secure the future of Velthar." A murmur passed through the council. Some nobles shifted uneasily, unsure how to respond to a human being given such recognition, but others looked at Ryan with respect, acknowledging his actions during the night's battle. Ryan stepped forward. "I came here not to lead, but to fight alongside your princess. I learned from her people, and together we found ways to defend what is important. I only ask that you judge us by our actions, not by tradition alone." Arian's markings brightened slightly. "He speaks the truth. We do not face threats alone. Velthar and Earth must act together if we are to survive in a galaxy that tests both courage and wisdom." A younger noble raised a hand. "Princess, if you can trust him, can we also trust that this alliance is safe? Can we rely on humans in times of danger?" Arian smiled faintly. "That trust is earned," she said. "And tonight it has been earned." She gestured to Ryan. "This is not just my word. Look at what we accomplished together. The palace is safe, the rebels are scattered, and no lives were lost unnecessarily. That is proof." The chamber went quiet. Ryan felt the tension ease slightly as nobles examined the evidence of their combined effort. He caught Arian's eye. Her glance was calm but filled with gratitude and trust. One by one, nobles nodded, some reluctantly, some with visible relief. The council accepted the outcome of the night's defense. Ryan realized that the perception of humanity on Velthar had changed in an instant. He was no longer a visitor or a soldier from afar. He was part of a new alliance. Arian stepped down from the platform. She walked toward Ryan, her hand resting briefly on his arm. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Not only for your skill, but for your presence and your trust in me." Ryan looked at her and nodded. "I will always stand with you, Princess. Not because of orders, but because of this bond. Together we are stronger than any threat." Outside, the city of Velthar began to sparkle in the light of the rising suns. The crystal towers reflected gold and violet across the plains. Citizens moved freely again, knowing the palace was secure. Children watched guards practice with the new techniques Ryan had taught. Merchants returned to the airships, and a sense of peace slowly filled the streets. Arian turned back to the council chamber. "Today marks a new beginning," she said. "A beginning where Velthar and Earth share knowledge, courage, and loyalty. This palace has seen our first joint victory. Let it also witness our future cooperation." Ryan observed the nobles' faces. Some were still wary, but most now held a mix of respect and hope. He felt the weight of his journey, from a soldier sent on duty to a partner in shaping the future of an alien world. He understood that his presence here had changed more than just the outcome of one night. It had changed the story of Velthar and its place among the stars. As the council dispersed, Arian and Ryan walked to the balcony. The twin suns reflected across the palace, the crystal spires catching every color. Ryan felt a calm strength within him, reinforced by the bond with Arian. "You have chosen wisely, Princess," Ryan said, "and the people will follow you." Arian's markings glowed softly in response. "No, Ryan. You were chosen long before I even sent for you. You are not just a guard. You are a friend, a protector, and a symbol of what humans and Velthari can achieve together." He smiled faintly. "Then we have much to do. The galaxy will not wait for us," she nodded, "and we will face it together." The palace stood tall under the morning light. Ryan and Arian gazed over the city, two allies united by trust, courage, and a bond that went beyond words. The future was open, full of challenges and discoveries. But for the first time, both knew that Velthar and Earth were stronger together, and that humanity's place among the stars had truly begun.